Hello, wonderful universe. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and today we are going to be talking about the Leo full moon astrological forecast. The Leo full moon is on February 5th, 2023 at 12:28 p.m. Central Standard Time. And as always, this is just a snapshot of the planets, just one day and actually one time, just almost like a birth chart for this full moon. And note that things are always moving and shifting, and this is a general forecast. If you'd like to know how this full moon and other astrological events will affect you, please book a consultation and we can talk about where this is affecting your life specifically, because these are just general areas, themes, energies. With that being said, let's talk about the notables. Astro notables. Well, first and foremost, we talked about this at the Aquarius new moon. At that time, Mars was just stationing direct or getting to stationing direct. It's been retrograde, meaning it's been kind of building its energy, but not getting to move forward with things. Mars is the planet of action. We've been wanting to do things, but we've had to reassess what we're doing. Well, at this time, now it is moving forward. It's a few degrees past where it was at the new moon, but it's finally actually going forward and it's picking up speed. So, hooray! We are finally feeling maybe the ability to start to pick up some speed towards the things we want to do. Now, remember that though, it's been in Gemini since last August, which is a particularly long time for Mars to be in a sign. So it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to be fully moving forward. I feel like we won't be moving forward until it goes past where it had stationed retrograde back in August. So it's going to be a little bit, but not too long. So just enjoy that forward motion and the energy of maybe not having to redo things as much, but going forward and maybe fixing the things that had to be redone and just blowing past them and being like, all right, time to move forward. Because I think everyone's been feeling the energy of just kind of like wanting to kind of get things going. And, I want to just note that this is a few days past Imbolc, the season that's marking, where that spring is coming and that life is coming through, but it's also here in the Northern Hemisphere still very winter, right? It's in a fixed sign. We're at Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius. The moon is in Leo. That's why, right, oppositions create a full moon here with the sun and the moon. And so there's still a lot of fixed energy, and that's something to say about the notable. We're still kind of staying the course, even though Mars and Gemini is kind of picking up and wanting to do things. Maybe it's doing more of the gathering of information and connecting and communicating versus that's the action instead of having me doing more physical, like outright movement. Like I'm going to move my house, I'm going to change my job. Who knows? It's going to depend on your chart. But that fixed energy is kind of saying stay the course, right? It's the coldest here in the wintertime. Often the storms are not the worst, but they can be pretty horrible in February here, especially where I live. And sometimes almost a little erratic. They're not as unpredictable as they are in the immutable sign of Pisces, but you can guarantee that there's going to be a few horrible snowstorms always within this season, and it's going to be bitterly cold a little bit. It's pretty consistent. And so what I'm trying to say here is hold the course, even though as we are in this winter season here in the Northern Hemisphere, is that, we want to kind of get going. We've kind of hunkered down for a little bit. We got to rest. Some people might need to rest more. Some people are just like, nope. I want to get going, right? I'm ready now. I'm getting anxious. Cabin fever is a real thing. There's a reason there's a term for it. But just try to maintain a little bit longer if you can. And as those ideas are coming, take some actions, but don't run yourself ragged to begin with, because this is, Mars is going to be going for a while here forward. So it's a marathon. It is not a, short distance race. So try to temper your energy, especially because spring has not even begun yet. And the other thing I wanted to make note of too as a notable is that the planets are dispersed for several months, especially during these moons. Energy has been kind of condensed into one or two signs, which can cause some tension for some people, especially if they have a lot of planets in those placements or having aspects to those planets. And so that can cause tension, but at the same time, it's also giving us a focus, right? It's kind of nice, like Capricorn focus, Aquarius focus, Sagittarius focus. Right now, there's 2 planets in Capricorn, 2 in Aquarius, 2 in Pisces, 1 in Aries, 1 in Taurus, 1 in Gemini, and then 1 in Leo. That's pretty stretched out. And so in some ways, we might have a feeling of a little more balance, but at the same time, also a little bit scattered. And this is a full moon, right? The moon represents our emotions, feelings. So we might feel a little scattered at the time. It depends on your chart. It could feel really like a breath of fresh air, or it could be just activating everything in your chart. It could feel really intense. I know that doesn't give it a clear, concrete kind of an answer, but it really depends on the make of your chart. But we might be feeling scattered overall in general. With that, let's talk about the moon name that I use from Raven Caldera's Moon Phase Astrology. Really love this book, and I'm only right now, when I do these videos talking about the full and new moons, there are names for moons for, like, when it's, Leo, from new moon to full moon, but and then everything in between, waxing, waning, blossoming, just you name it. And I really like it because it creates a story for the energy of the moon. And the more I read charts, it's really important. People will be like, say, okay, Leo, right? I'm a Leo moon. Well, are you a full moon? Are you a new moon? Are you a waxing? Are you waning? It does really make a difference. These are different energies, different experiences. Just like if you think of the Deacons, through the signs, like there's a start and a finish, right? When there's a start, that's a newness. And so the full moon is kind of like middle age, right? Or upper middle age, where like it's the zenith, the cup is full, you've learned the lessons, you've gained notoriety, you're using your skills, but yet it's not on the downhill slope yet where it's like, okay, I'm stepping aside, right? So in this case, this moon's name is the Queen's Moon, all right? This person in this energy is at its pinnacle. And if you think about Leo and the new moon, often it's playful, it's joyful, and those phases in between, it's the actor, right? This is the actor refined, right? Royalty can serve a role as actors for us all because they have pageantry, they have clothing, they have ceremony, everyone looks to them. And so at this time, there's going to be a feeling for all of us that it's time to kind of be seen in our full glory. What is your, if you want to say, role, where the role becomes life, right? No longer is it, it's a role for them to be king or queen, but it's their life. They don't, even if they're acting, they're in it. They're not dipping out like, tomorrow I don't want to be a king or queen. It's like, nope, you are in this. And so think about where you are a leader, right? And where are you a charismatic leader? Because Leo is all about charisma, which I find kind of very interesting in this moon, because in this full moon, like the sun is in Aquarius, and Aquarius has charisma, but it's different. It's charisma because they don't care, and people are drawn to, some people, I should say, are drawn to that. Oh, well, they don't care. Like, I want to be with the person who is, shirking society, like, and then follow that person. They inspire me to be an individual. Here, the moon, Leo, is more about like, well, that's inspiring because they just are dynamic and passionate and joyful about this, and they inspire me to do better things. It's a totally different thing here. So where are you inspiring others, and where are others inspiring you? So there's going to be a spark of inspiration here, and it may be coming out of left field or unexpected. So just kind of be open to that and listening to that at this time. And then the other things too is, how do you use this charm in a positive way, and do you use it in a more manipulative way? Now, usually the king or queens don't, but in this case, queen. But make sure that you're not using your charisma to get things that you just kind of want. There is still the answer to the Aquarius sun, and that's saying you have to think about the people here. It's not just about you. And this is where Leo may not always like that. It's like, okay, there is actually a sacrifice in being royalty, right? You are royalty. If you want to be an artist, well, I guess you could take that up in your spare time, but people don't want to, the people, right, the masses don't necessarily care. They want you to be their leader. And so there is that responsibility of leadership and then responsibility of that role. And then moving forward to just thinking about this a little bit more as well, too. You may need to find out where you need to take charge, because at this full moon, it was the queen or king, but this is really the queen and not the king. This is specifically said that. is that you need to be taking charge of your life. Where are you the authority in your life? So it's very important to kind of focus in on and accept where you need to take the responsibility. It's no one else is going to make that choice for you. You're not answering to a king or queen, right? Sometimes people like having authority over them because then they don't have to make the decisions. And if they don't have to make the decisions, if it doesn't work out, it's not their fault, right? Nope, not this time. This is time to make your decision and to accept the consequences, good or bad, of that decision, even if it is a little scary. So something to think about as well. Other aspects too, there's two like strong, there's many different aspects going on in this chart. I don't want to talk too much about it, but that Uranus is squaring this full moon. This only happens twice a year. This is the first one. The next time will happen in Leo, which will be interesting because at that time, I'll have to look, but I believe Venus might be retrograde in Leo. But this is bringing change and like a dynamic. Something has to change here. And so like we're being a leader, we're being, responsible for those that, we're inspiring and, helping the masses do what they need to do. And yet there's something saying like, oh, you might need to be a leader in an unexpected way. You may be put into a place of leadership unexpectedly or taken out of a role of leadership unexpectedly. It's like, well, did you abuse your resources, right? Think about, you could think about all things in the news, like, oh, you find out people were funneling funds, blah, 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 dealing with money or resources. It could actually be water, food, because Uranus is in Taurus, where that kind of energy of unexpected around those resources will play a part in this shining of the leadership role. Will you come into power? Will you go out of power? Will things be exposed? Will things have to change? That absolutely. Something is going to be asked to be changed. And again, it'll be different for everybody depending on your chart. So the other aspect too that we have going on is Venus and Mars are square. So some can say it's the yin and the yang, the in and the out, the receptive. And so Venus is in Pisces. And so Venus just desires to sleep and to rest and to dream and to create, but in a passive way, like just let it come to you, right? It's not about going after it and charging for it. It's just this very calm, receptive, passive, but enjoyable, pleasurable state. And, you can say Venus, though Venus, it doesn't have to be a she. Venus is at odds with Mars, and Mars is like, hey, I just got to go forward. I am trying to pick up speed. I'm trying to get things done. It's also in a masculine sign or a yang sign. Like, I'm going to get things done. I'm going to gather information. I'm going to communicate. I'm going to network. And so we're going to have this really strong pull, like especially around the days before and after, to be like, I want to sleep and rest and just create and be playful, on my own speed, my own time, in my own way. And then there's this other part. It's like, you got to get this done now. You got to go, 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 go. Who can I talk to next? What can I get done next? So with a full moon, right, being thrown in there, which largely affects our, feelings and emotions, things being illuminated, it can amp up that intensity, right? I feel like it's going to be a little bit of an electric day because there's going to be this pull to be like, I need to rest. And also if you think about like the Queen and King, I think about Leo the Lion, like I want to, just sit on my rock here and chill. People will bring me food, bring me wine, bring me grapes, bring me cheese. And then the other part that's like, I gotta get stuff done. I gotta get going, and that's very much the Mars aspect. And Mars has been trying to, hold down the fort for a while and just try not to do a lot of things, but it's definitely going to cause a huge tension. And there are a lot more aspects. Like I said, you have to think we talked about all those planets and all those signs. So like Aquarius, right? We are feeling this responsibility to the collective. Saturn's still there, but almost leaving. So thinking about our fellow human and the world at large. And then there's also this aspect where Mercury is very close to conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn, that responsibility, and Pluto is very, very close to finally, for the first time, and then shifting back in a long time, back into Aquarius, then it will go back into Capricorn. But like, what I'm trying to say here is that sense of responsibility is really there, and like how we need to transform our way of thinking about responsibility, how we need to transform how we create a structure, and yet this energy is being, being receptively shined on by Venus, and it's like, I can see my dream. Oh no, actually, sorry, Neptune. Scratch at Neptune in Pisces. And so it's like the dream is there, and Mercury can see it. So like the planet of information and perception is like, I can see the dream, and I can see what I need to create the dream. I'm going to be able to do this. I can recreate the foundation. I know what has to happen. I know what needs to go, because Pluto's right there. It's like, oh, that old stuff is not going to help the dream. Let it go, And at this time too, maybe some of our shadow pieces are around control and old habits, right? Especially very habits we learned from authority might be coming up. But like, we can see that dream and also that expansiveness, but we don't know how to take the action yet. And that might take a little while, because I'm saying that is that Mars, which really can bring in the action, is not quite visible to this aspect. It's not playing along. It's not fully charging anything. And so that's the other really kind of big important thing. So if you see the dream and you understand it, write it down. Think about how you want to enact it, and you can take action. You can always take action, right? It just may feel a little elusive on the right steps, or the first steps, or the most effective steps to take first and foremost into that. I think with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. That's a lot of information. So on this full moon, take stock in where you should be proud and where you inspire people, and look where others inspire you, and just enjoy it. Try to be playful. Try to use that aspect of Leo. Even queens play, so try to be out there and do a little play, even though you might be also taking on some leadership and changing the way you lead in your own life, wherever that is in your life. And like I said, this is not a Saturnian leadership where it's like, I'm going to show up every day, I'm going to do this, I'm going to grind. No, this is like, I'm showing up every day and I'm inspiring every day. It's happening, in a consistent way, but some days maybe the queen doesn't come to court because she doesn't feel like it, and that's okay, because she's the queen. So just kind of honoring that energy. And what I want to say to wrap it all up is, most importantly, because of this Leo, make decisions and lead from your heart. If there are things that are coming up at this time, and this, is usually true most of the time, but listen to your heart. It will give you the right answers. With that, I'm Jennifer at Eureka Astrology and Healing. If you like what I'm doing, hit like, subscribe. If you like consultations, I do astrological consultations, birth charts, so like when you're born, but also the year ahead, synastry chart readings. I also do oracle card readings. I'm also an herbalist and do herbal readings. So if you're interested in any of my services, you can go to my website, eurekaastrologyandhealing.com. And with that, may the plants ground you and the stars guide you. Ciao for now.